My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. XZZ475, stalking in the middle of the night, molesting with impossible light activity, threatening my life by engaging in conspicuous surveillance, stalking in the path of light while the rest of these sex offenders are molesting while they're pacing up and down Euclid Avenue. This is all the ongoing conduct by the demons of the city of Ontario. Those that are going to be disbanded, those that are going to be removed from position, those are going to be prosecuted for kidnapping, etc. It is currently current time is 12:10 a.m. on January 10, 2026. And the people of the state that are engaged in criminal surveillance do not take a break from keeping you under surveillance. They do not engage in what is minding their business. You do not have actual privacy. A population is engaged in and invested in 24-hour surveillance until they accomplish murder. That's why a gang stalking police department is being disbanded for repeatedly kidnapping and sharing in this criminal conduct, facilitating it, holding hands, engaging in it. P.O.C. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C., and it is also shared on the Google Drive Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state. And it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state.
This is sexual assault and battery with the people of the state facing with them. That's engineer light. That's all engineer light. All engineer light. This is quality control distribution, quality custom distribution, engaging in sexual assault and battery. And so is Starbucks. Starbucks the kidnapper. Starbucks the one engaging criminal sex.
Starbucks is engaged in the pattern of conduct while QCD, under the guise of providing services to Starbucks, is committing sexual assault and battery. All right, you're looking at what is the projection of these little poles right here. You saw them lined up. Rewind the tape and look at it in slow motion, and you're looking at the environment where I'm assault and battery. My shadow is projected in front of me while I'm standing underneath light, and my shadow is in front of me on the wall. That's where you're stalking with light. That's where the entities engage in what is the maintenance of an ongoing illusion while they're all stalking in plain view in this environment. Where businesses like QCD are going to be prosecuted as sex offenders, I'm going to prosecute and drain their pockets. I'm going to drain them. Company QCD is a sex offender. QCD is a terrorist. QCD is engaging in what is threatening my life and doing so in furtherance of murder. And they're engaged in sexual assault and battery, and those fools do it on video. I'm going to prosecute them, and they're engaged in serial stalking, serial sexual violence. They hire demons, and they hire demons to engage in surveillance in the United States. This is P.O.C. This is at 537 North Euclid Avenue, and it is January 10, 2026. It's currently 12:14 a.m. All right, this is my shadow reaching across the street. This is what demons are driving in. And they're all going to the kidnapper, the establishment that KTLA gang stalkers find newsworthy, Starbucks. They're engaged in gang stalking, and so is Starbucks, while they're pacing and engineer light. They're driving in it. This is for the public purposes of criminal monitoring. Impossible light activity that's, by the way, manifesting in the shade. Causing my shadow to extend across in the opposite direction, and it's flying in the air, moving on, appearing on the side of their vehicles. These are demons. Pay attention. It's impossible light. It's appearing on the passenger side of their vehicles. They're monitoring. 5 SUW 162, the City of Ontario, 6 ZSK 331, 8 ETS 180. It's illuminating the sides of their vehicles on the passenger side. And it's also, you can see it on engineered light on the curb that they're driving in. They're monitoring. They're stalking, in other words. Criminal monitoring is pursuant to stalking. It is pursuant to what is targeting. It is pursuant to the absence of any privacy. It is relevant regarding what is criminal surveillance that not only am I subject to while the entity is gang stalking me in furtherance of murder, but that you are subject to. This is not the environment, and it is not there while they are all ignorant. While they are all demons that you also know. The entities engage in what is engineered light that's appearing underneath the covered structure. Impossible light activity. It's relevant to what is manifesting in the shade. Impossible light activity. And they're driving in air that's flying, light that's flying through the air. They're stalkers. They're co-conspirators of murder. And the gang members that are the Ontario police, they're going to be disbanded for this exposure because they've committed kidnapping while this system is underway. These are animals. These are serial killers. Okay? These are literally bad people. And martial law is what is required in order to handle and address what is lawlessness. P.O.C. Here's the fake sun over here. In the same position it is at 1 o'clock in the afternoon over me, both at that Chevron, behind this same building at Bethel Congregation. This is the fake sun that's over in the morning right now, and it's over me. And in the shade, you have the engineered light that the demon-possessed are driving in with regard to criminal monitoring, knowledge of exactly who I am. This is impossible light activity in the presence of this engineered light. Impossible light activity, the purpose of it is criminal. This is P.O.C. This is federal stalking under Title 18. Relevant positioning, audible activity, and light activity is how the demon-possessed are monitoring. This is demonic activity. The environment is demonic. And that which is demonic is relevant to what is also supernatural. And this is the criminalization of that.
This is P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct, and this is where the entity is keeping a fake sun that you see here. Lemon Avenue is on the opposite side. This is Euclid Avenue, and then Lemon Avenue is back here. This is E Street. Then there's D Street and C Street. The fake sun is setting while I'm at the OVITT Family Community Library on this same block. Okay, that's also speaking to what is criminal surveillance, the absence of privacy. You're looking at psychopaths that are gang stalking, looking to the left and the right like they're not doing it, like they're oblivious. The demon-possessed are psychotic. And they are engaging in criminal activity that they never wanted to be exposed. And while they're being exposed, you are witnessing even more clearly mental illness, psychopathic and antisocial with regard to the type of illness that is a threat to the public. They are absolutely engaging in gang stalking. Absolutely. And it's poor acting. Their poor acting is relevant to the mental illness, the threat that they pose. That's a threat. It's not ignorance, and they're not even good actors. Pay attention to that, because that's what's committing serial killings. That's what's engaging what is keeping you under surveillance and acting like you have privacy, asking for your identification and verification, and they know exactly who you are. They're keeping your genitalia under surveillance. This is P.O.C. This is P.O.C. 70620B1, City of Ontario. Pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. You are recalling where the entity is flying through the fake sun while I'm at the same exact Ontario Village shopping plaza. The entity is engaging in what is stalking. That's UPS. UPS is an established terrorist. They're a murderer. You're aware of what they committed in Kentucky. There's no sunset in the natural environment in Kentucky where the entity is keeping the fake sun, as I documented even at the Stater Brothers, from morning into the afternoon and keeping it over me. Also, my documentation shows in the evening. The entity is moving this fake sun while I am walking to Stater Brothers, where my evidence shows it was already here, and meaning it wouldn't be over the bus stop, and it's not maintaining this ubiquitous presence over everyone everywhere. Who is stalking in that environment with the government? The people of the state, demons that keep your genitalia under surveillance. 5XUZ610 is a sex offender, as is the average person in the U.S. engaging in surveillance that is sexually violent, while the government at the same time maintains laws creating an illusion to you that sex offenders that are a threat to you and your children are going to be locked up and labeled on Megan's list. 9RJJ490, a sex offender, and so is UPS, so is the Ontario International Airport. My evidence shows standing at this same exact location, and the fake sun is right here over the habit, and those idiots flew through it on video. Okay, and that's into the, I believe the 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock hour, and I'll attach that video. This is the entity that has the fake sun over. This is Stater Brothers over here, where they're engaged in that conduct, and they're acting as though they're landing and taking off over the Ontario City Hall. Again, this is the entity that is stalking. The stalking conduct is the evidence of mental illness. The ways in which they're stalking, as a police department, as a population, with light, under a fake sun, under a fake moon, stalking with noise, stalking in commercial planes. That's relevant to the mental illness. That's the necessity of martial law. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:55 a.m. Alrighty, this is the Ontario Town Square, and this is the fake sun. All right, it is 8:43 a.m. So what you're going to recall, first of all, is the position that I'm in, and you're looking at what is a straight line as far as diagonally from the entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library. Let me move in for you to see. Those are the entrance doors of the OVITT Family Community Library that says open. Right behind the keep right sign, that's the turn circle. Those are the entrance doors that I'm standing in front of, excuse me, at 3:28 p.m. where I am through those doors, and I walk outside of the entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library. That's 215 EC Street. At 3:28 p.m., I'm inside, and I'm referring to the overweight Latino male who is at this Ontario Town Square systematically, repeatedly, as a matter of documentation, gang stalking me just like this white male is. It's the same entity, different face, different name, different third-party identifier, but you're the same entity you're going to prosecute. I'm also going to prosecute the gang stalkers of that entity that are systematically gang stalking further into murder on behalf of the government. That's pacing around using sirens and lights, engaging criminal surveillance, conspiring murder with them, as I've documented them systematically stalking at 224 North Euclid Avenue, which is right in front of the 215 EC Street OVITT Family Community Library. And at 3:28 p.m., you're looking at the same presence of the fake sun. Okay? So let's count together. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 7 hours later. That's approximately 7 hours later. Give or take a couple minutes. 8:43 to 3:28 p.m. Okay?
under all circumstances, 6 hours, 5 hours, 4 hours, the sun is not going to be over the same property. Not only over the same property, it's over the same person. Well, I'm inside of those doors at 328, and the demons are stalking with sparking light. The behavior of those that are stalking with light, that are monitoring you, which is the conduct of the government. Driving in the engineer light, sitting around, sounding sirens in the engineer light, threatening to commit kidnappings while they're stalking you as an entity in the engineer light. That's the subject of federal prison, by the way. The entities engaging in this while they are under a fake sun that is in the same position at 3:28 p.m. While I'm in those doors, you're looking at this illusion. So I'm showing you the same illusion in the morning facing that same library, 3:28 p.m., where the demons are inside of that venue, where I'm being ambushed by the Ontario police that are engaging in order pacing, psychopathic behavior, stalking in helicopter pacing, psychopathic behavior, stalking as a pattern of conduct by that department and comes with the people of the state, certifiable behavior for which they're going to prison. Everyone engaging in what is threatening, like Sergeant Hall, like Jay Sandoval. Everyone engaging in kidnapping, like Owens and Craig Hazelwood. Jonathan Burnett, we can keep going. They're going to prison. And the entity is engaging and showing you, as I am breaking down the pattern of conduct, what is criminal surveillance. This is P.O.C. It's 8:46 a.m. This fake sun is next to the same clock, and I'll attach that video for you to look at. The illusion that is very much real, revealing what is null and void witchcraft. And it's null and void against you as well, because it's no longer a secret. Okay? Most of what Satan is doing is with regard to what is your ignorance, and it exercising power over you. Okay? Don't be ignorant with regard to what is your need for Christ Jesus. That's what you really need to know, while you're also aware of the wiles of the devil, against whom you have no defense, no protection. It is in no other name other than Christ Jesus. It is currently 8:46 a.m. This is the prosecution of the U.S. government, the people of the state, and it's exposing what is criminal surveillance in the United States. And there are international repercussions regarding what this country is doing to its own American citizens and to those abroad. This is P.O.C. It's a demon stalking with impossible light and doing so as a third party with Wells Fargo, license 8 Charlie Henry Apple 395. This is a midget, a Latino male with white and black tennis shoes and a black hoodie. He's gang stalking me at the Ontario Town Square as he is on the property of Wells Fargo, which I'm going to prosecute for that. And he's walking in engineer light, gang stalking me with Wells Fargo, going into that establishment, engaging in a transaction which is relevant to the federal RICO case. That's what all their customers and employees are doing as well. It's psychopathic pacing while they target me with impossible light. Demons that are employees and patrons gang stalking with regard to the state system. It's currently 9:53 a.m. where the Ontario International Airport is engaging in psychopathic behavior, very demented, stalking in planes, engaging in what is the demented conduct of not only stalking in planes, but dipping low as though they're engaging in what is an ongoing, never-ending landing process. They're doing that at the Stater Brothers parking lot over the Habit. Okay, and as I walk back toward the Ontario Town Square, where I'm showing you that illusion, which is evidence of stalking by a society. In other words, surveillance. When you're under surveillance, you're being followed, you're being monitored by demons. That's stalking, okay? The entity's engaging in that while the entity is stalking by planes in that illusion where the fake sun is present on video from 3:28 p.m. to what is 8:43 a.m. This is P.O.C. I'm capturing images of where that Latino male is stalking. The entity is gang stalking with him, and that's in furtherance of my murder. License 8CHA 395 and Wells Fargo. Okay, this is the P.O.C. The OVIT, all of this is speaking to the entity, like I stated. The demons inside of the OVIT Family Community Library are going to prison for kidnapping, and they're going to federal prison for all of the instances of criminal summoning, threatening me, harassing me, sexually violating me while conspiring my murder. They are going to federal prison. And the entity that's engaging in what is this very idiotic, open, and obvious, unequivocal stalking as an airport, showing very severe mental illness in doing so, and stalking like they are as a corrupt establishment, Wells Fargo, and all of their customers and employees, it's going toward demons that have committed kidnapping pursuant to the same pattern of conduct. The gang members of the City of Ontario, the OVIT Family Community Library, where the fake sun is still present, as I captured on video yesterday at 3:28 p.m. while I'm looking outside of the doors at this same Ontario Town Square where demons are stalking. And every gang stalking airline are going to be prosecuted, and the world needs to know, because these airlines are flying outside of the states. They're flying outside of this country. They're threatening the lives of other people around the world, and you need to know before you get on these planes, because they intentionally crash into buildings and bodies of water committing murder, while you are unaware of the fact that they are intentionally doing so in the same way that they're intentionally stalking. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:55 a.m. All right, it is 1:15 p.m. and you will see a monitoring spirit. This is a psychopath engaged in serial stalking, gang stalking at computer station number 2. The day before that, gang stalking at computer station number 4. And doing so with regard to monitoring me. This is ongoing harassment. The desk is jerking every time I'm up, operating my device, going to a website, uploading information, turning on the Wi-Fi, and then the psychopaths that sit there staring at the computer or aiming their phone at me while the entity has engineer light flying through the venue. This is the same library where the entity ambushed me with the Ontario Police Department, and these fools are sitting in here gang stalking in plain view. These are the demons that are going to prison and mental asylums. They're all on surveillance cameras, and the people that stayed at OVITT Family Community Library are going to prison. I just want to document the entity's ongoing harassment, ongoing surveillance, while they are waiting literally to be raided and arrested. This is the pattern of conduct. It's 1:16 p.m. on January 10, 2026. This is harassment by the entity that is gang stalking until the day they are dragged into a prison, a jail, and a courtroom. P.O.C. Alrighty, it is 6:06 p.m. The entity is stalking as an entity. This is an agreement that the demon-possessed maintain with regard to stalking one person, keeping that person under surveillance, and keeping that person covered and surrounded with what is light, and also ongoing presence and activity methods. This is mentally ill behavior that a population is agreeing on committing. And the only type of people that engage in that are people that are deranged. Okay, they're engaged in what is an unspoken agreement to stalk one person together. They're mentally ill. And the mentally ill, specifically their condition is that which is of demon possession. These are demon possessed people that engage in this agreement to stalk one person together and to kill one person together, to follow them around and harass them together, to engage in stalking and the absurd ways in which the demon possessed do with noise and with light. And while they look to the left and the right like they're not stalking you, because you're associating stalking with staring, slobbering even, googly eyes, and talking to you when you're trying to ignore them. The demon possessed are doing so while they're looking to the left and the right, not addressing you, and they're stalking. They also do so in the environment, which is proving that they're mentally ill and that they're demons, and that their mental illness is a threat to your safety. The entity's engaging in what is stalking with light. This is a sex offender. He stops at Sarah's Regis Group, who I'm going to prosecute for gang stalking me in concert with the entity, including this third party who was a sex offender. This is a Latino male. In operation of his device, and engineer light at nightfall. The same engineer light you see during the day under the fake sun, it's present in the dark, and it has nothing to do with what are any ray of sunlight bouncing off of an object, headlights reflecting backward. This is merely light, as I'm letting you know that these are demon-possessed people, and it's a demonic environment, and the supernatural surround you, and it's the ability to recognize criminal activity pursuant to state surveillance. This is a sex offender engaging in surveillance and molesting my person, wanting to touch me, that same mind state with regard to what is an unlawful touch while you're stalking. This includes what is license plate 8 Robert Zebra Henry 875, stalking at Sarah's Regis Group, Lemon and C Street. Doing so at the moment that I arrive at that intersection, that's not a coincidence. It's pursuant to stalking, tracking my steps, like the entity is doing, as you are all witnessing under a fake sun. All of the demons are aware of where I'm at, tracking my steps and stalking as a population, which is mentally ill behavior, and it's also a threat to the national security, to the security of American citizens who need to be aware that this sort of conduct is underway and that the government is engaging in surveilling all of us. License 2 Edward Kelly 1268, and that is that's a Maryland license plate. That is reminiscent of the African-American male gang stalking at the Lockout Studios at 602 North Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California, parking across the street at the by the bus stop, gang stalking me and doing so, and then walking across the street to that venue. He's parking at ARCO. License 8, Edward, Indiana, Paul 592. ARCO and ARCO's employees are sharing in sexual assault and battery, and the employee that likes to go to the OVITT Family Community Library to gang stalk me, proven through what is a fake sun that remains over me while he is not coincidentally or ignorantly crossing path. He is seeking me out to go gang stalk me as a hostile demon that knows that he's been documented. That's 9 Thomas, Indiana, Henry 520. This is an aged male. Potential immigration is, potential immigrants gang stalking is always relevant, and that's relevant to what is also going to be deportation of enemies of the United States. ARCO is gang stalking, sharing in sexual assault and battery, and they're all lined up in relevant position, and ARCO is making money off of the conspiracy to murder. 4Z17593, 66487 David 4, 57077 Henry 3, 9D CD 155. 8FNW645. This is gang violence with regard to what is psychopathic behavior,
very mentally deranged, analogous to eating your own feces, sitting around and aiming light on someone, stalking altogether, making sure that they keep you surrounded, making sure that you don't make any turn or go in any direction where they cannot aim engineer light on you and be in the path in order to monitor you while they are stalking you and plotting on your murder. This is what a population engages in. This is what the demon-possessed are doing in California. And that's a company's criminal act as well. I'm going to prosecute the company ARCO. License 9SAJ354. License 3NEY006. 7B87117. License 8CGA100. This is P.O.C. Chevron is at 506 North Euclid Avenue. ARCO is at 434 North Euclid Avenue. The entity is gang stalking me upon my exit of the OVITT Family Community Library, which is at 215 E.C. Street in Ontario, California. So this is the same block where you see the fake sun over me at 10 o'clock in the morning. This is where the entity has the fake sun, as I'm showing you, at 7 in the morning. And these demons are driving through light that's flying in the air. Okay? This is the entity that's engaging in the pattern of conduct. The centrality of this light, which is supernaturally occurring, is relevant to proving mental illness by that which is outside of their behavior. Their behavior, in other words, is assessed through the environment. This is what you're recognizing. This is the behavior pattern contrary to someone speaking gibberish and having a tendency to dig in between their legs, do something perverted, do something abnormal, engage in what is then pulling out their hair, slitting their wrists. This is how you're assessing mental illness. With the demon-possessed that are monitoring you, which is mentally ill behavior, the assessment of their mental illness includes the behavior that they are in, which is, includes the behavior assessment regarding the environment that they're in, where they are monitoring. They're stalking with noise. They're engaging in facilitation. They're doing so under the guise of what's supposed to appear as being anonymous, engage in what is supposed to on the surface appear as innocent behavior. That is literally the behavior that you're going to assess regarding psychopathic tendencies. Microaggressive personality disorder issues, psychopathic conduct, sexually violent, sexually perverted, sexually motivated. Okay, doing so while you're absolutely trying to murder someone, but you want to make it appear as though. That's that microaggressive, passive-aggressive conduct. Okay, I'm going to document this third party right here, engaging in the same. Stalking with light while demons are pacing. Stalking at 5AXT 375. That's a demon with a communication device in hand while psychopathic pacing is underway and aiming light on me like a sex offender, meeting at all the intersections. Doing so on behalf of the entity that's stalking in planes and helicopters. The demons that are sounding sirens, that are all losing their jobs, all of them. All of these departments are going to be shut down. And this is the entity that is requiring martial law. You are assessing their mental illness by the ways in which their behavior is identified, and it includes the environment. Everybody on this block is stalking under a fake sun and with engineer light, mentally ill behavior. While the entity is relying on the illusion. They're not mentally ill because they look to the left and the right and they don't know you, and they contain themselves and they look perplexed when you document them, and they're doing so in that specific environment. The irony is that the entity has been shown to be psychopaths that they are, engaged in what is plotting the demise of innocent American citizens that they are obsessively stalking to the degree of keeping their genitalia under surveillance, and the malice with which you do so, failing at acting like you're doing anything else, is literally the behavior, literally the evidence to have you diagnosed and have you committed. License 8 Edward O. Yolanda 221, 9MFD 267. Understand the nuance there. The entity is, again, abusing what is a practice of medicine, which is not the practice of medicine, targeting somebody and then artificially engineering it by abusing what are the notions of mentally, oh, you're mentally ill if you're stalking somebody. And stalking is only proven through a familiar face following you from place to place that's talking to you, you know them, and they behave in a weird manner. Okay, it's absolutely weird for you to be engaging in stalking as a population, doing so under a fake sun, doing so with engineer light, doing so in incredible and expensive manners, requiring a whole population of people who are all together acting like they're not doing it. And it's a bad act. Those are absolutely mentally deranged threats to the public. And the entity has a surprise. They're going into mental asylums and they're going to prison. 8CXU512. There's absolutely nothing normal about that. And everybody sees the act. Everyone sees it. Everyone sees it. License 8TDZ709. P.O.C. Businesses are sharing in this public corruption. The entities engaging in it, and the more that the demon-possessed are identified and exposed and documented that is, the more that their mental illness is more obvious, the more aggressive that is, the more hostile. All right? The more spectacular the evidence, the probative value of my evidence, because the entity starts stalking in helicopters, flying in circles for an hour, stalking with ridiculous light activity that's inexplicable, where there will be crickets in a courtroom regarding explaining it. because you can't, and it's going to go towards your mental assessment. You're going into straitjackets, you're going into asylums, you're going into prison. You're going to be talking to that lady every Tuesday and Thursday. 9PJB254, 9LRA569, 8JJH350. This is P.O.C. El Pescador's gang stalking. The entities engaged in criminal summoning while I'm on Euclid Avenue at what is Bethel Congregation, 536 North Euclid Avenue, with regard to what is monitoring facilitation by the City of Ontario that's losing the airport, no police department, no fire department, and no demons driving around as EMTs while they're monitoring vagina in actuality. That's why the City of Ontario is being gutted out. P.O.C. It is currently 6:16 p.m. License plate 9NKK871, 9CKG946, 7LVV311, 9ENG543, I believe. License plate 00742, that's Idaho. 9JYH336. Mentally ill behavior, stalking somebody as they're walking at a crosswalk under the guise of waiting at a traffic light, where they're engaging in that pattern of conduct in the specific environment. It's not coincidental, it's not in passing, it's not ignorant either. The entity is going to be mentally assessed with regard to the malice behind their system that is designed to maintain ceaseless, systematic criminal surveillance that is serving for the murder of an American citizen. Those that are plotting murder, those that are plotting murder as an entity, those that are plotting murder while seeking to control a narrative that would essentially blame that American citizen for it, are severely mentally ill. Severely. And that's the system of gang stalking. It's currently 6:18 p.m. All right, sexual assault and battery, license plate 9MKV026. Mission Furniture at G Street and Euclid Avenue. And the plaza, that includes the gym and the WSS shoe store, anchoring this plaza where I've captured the fake sunrise and set, okay? All hours of the day. They're all monitoring. And the evidence surrounds all of them. These are all sex offenders. Millions of them at one time that are engaging in stalking altogether as a whole society that's exposed as corrupt, exposed as wicked, exposed as liars, exposed as charlatans, and they're exposed as demons. And you're talking about the quantity, numerosity of co-conspirators of murder. Oh, that's absolutely domestic terrorism, and it is absolutely going to be what is the prosecution of that government, and that government that has no private citizens. These are the people of the state who are state actors. License plate 7UGU351. License plate 8TDL263. P.O.C. These are demons that are maintaining sexual violence, stalking obsessively. Obsessively. P.O.C. All right, 7-Eleven engaging in sexual assault and battery with this homosexual predator, molesting me with light while she's tracking my steps in my approaching 7-Eleven at 636 North Vine, 9PBA008, 55597J2, looks like a paper plate taped on. License PTGA431, license 8UNH250. They're all on surveillance cameras inside of the 7-Eleven, which is heavily documented. 7SMB519, 9GQJ503. These demons that are engaging in sexual assault and battery as a group, by the way, are engaging in the pattern of conduct, which you are aware of. That's the point of having the fake sun, which I also documented over this 7-Eleven. They're monitoring, and so is 7-Eleven, and they're sex offenders, and so is the company. P.O.C. All right, license plate 7PUY717. Whole bunch of gang members all together at surrounding with light. It is very demonic what these stalkers do. 8LKJ839 at the Country VS Apartments across the street at 717 North Vine Avenue, maintaining light activity at that corner, light activity in the parking lot, light activity while they're crossing path on Vine. These are demons that are maintaining light activity even while you're pacing in the parking lot and engineer light. This is P.O.C. Very mentally deranged behavior. 9JYW535, 8NGV347. Stalking with light activity. in concert with the Ontario Police Department, who are already heavily documented gang stalking at this 7-Eleven, which I'm going to prosecute. And all the immigrants that are engaging in terrorism with 7-Eleven and with the people of the state, they're going to be prosecuted based on that fact as well. It's legally relevant. While immigrants are targeting American citizens with this gang, with these gang members of the Ontario Police Department. 6TOF019. License plate 6ZNJ813, and this is again the lawlessness that's requiring martial law. Mike Lorenz is in no position to remain in law enforcement or be any sort of police chief. He is a gang leader. He's a terrorist, a domestic terrorist leader, and martial law is necessary with regard to the lawlessness that he fosters, that he shares in, that he facilitates. License plate 8YWJ402, and these demons, I'm going to show you what they're doing. Aiming light and then pacing on of G Street. That's exactly what the demon is doing at Saris Regis as I get to the intersection. That sex offender in the white SUV aiming light while the demons are pacing on Lemon Avenue. This is what the demons are doing with regard to what is monitoring. That's relevant to the mentally ill behavior, and it's teamwork. And who's pacing in sky space? The demons that are the Ontario Police Department. Okay? This is P.O.C. It's a sex offense while they touch you with light. It's a sex offense while they keep your genitalia under surveillance. It's a sex offense while they interfere and violate your privacy, not just as one person, but as an entity. Millions of people monitoring your genitalia and violating your privacy. This is what is requiring martial law. Sex offenders make up the state of California, and they are operating under the guise of law and order. And the distinction between a conviction as a sex offender, being on the Megan's list, versus the average gang stalker that's a violent sex offender. Violent sex offender. P.O.C. It's 6:33 p.m. Sexual assault and battery includes license 36519 Charlie 4. Gang stalking at 409 West G Street in Ontario, California. Engaging in that with the Ontario Police. The ones that are flying over their home, gang stalking me at what is a facilitating venue, not private property. Doing so with the entity that's pacing up and down G Street, molesting with engineer light, doing so in an impulsive manner, speaking to demons who are stalking, not just weirdos, not just stalkers. It's on top of that, they're demon possessed. 5VSS464. P.O.C. License plate 9TTG457, maintaining surveillance at the WSS shoe in the plaza. They're engaging in surveillance in the parking lot, aiming light, stalking with light, stalking in the path with their criminal co-defendants who are pacing all around, including in the sky space. 6LMT532. And license plate, just coming in, parking in the parking lot. The ease with which the entity is engaging in conspiring murder of an American citizen is relevant to the ways in which they're going to be prosecuted to disincentivize that. RG947 handicap. License, sexual assault and battery, 9LJC599, LOVELYG, 7FSFJ, 7 Frank Sam Jerry 744, 7 Bob Edward George 043, Edward Jerry 59 Larry 78, that's a paper plate, 5 Xavier Thomas 123, 40918 Nancy 3. Engaging in what is stalking with light in the middle of the parking lot to make sure they keep light on the sidewalk. Very obsessive and psychotic behavior. Very obsessive with regard to making sure that they surround you. The entities engage in this while they are conspiring murder. Assault with a deadly weapon. Seeing me right in the middle of the road, 7BOR627. They do the same thing with ARCO at ARCO while the entities engage in what is hostility. You're threatening the wrong person, you'll go to prison for that. 7BOR627. Looks like an African-American woman with a bad wig, curly blonde wig up to her ears, and license plate 8 Edward Sam Apple 010 threatens my safety with them while that co-defendant engages in that conduct because they're mad that they're being documented. These are the unintelligent demons that are going to prison because they're psychopaths that can't control their impulses to engage in certifiable conduct like stalking with light and it being documented and they're being embarrassed. Okay, this is the entity that's engaged in that in the red, maintaining presence with regard to light activity. That's what you're looking at here. That's a demon. It's a demon-possessed person. License 9 Charlie George Zebra 463. 8 Paul Bob Thomas 784. The stalking with light conduct. You're talking about mental asylums, 9VMN056. You're talking about what is also the entity that's already earned what is martial law.
based on the mental illness that's shared by the population in California and in Ontario, California, as you're looking at it, as you're witnessing it. This is the entity that is requiring martial law based on the level of instability that threatens the public. It also threatens the federal government that's going to be in the position to rule over criminals that make up a population. So you're talking about what is necessary with regard to implementing martial law. P.O.C. It's currently 6:42 p.m. License 8 Paul Bob Thomas 784, 9 Robert Uncle Jerry 546, 9 Nancy Jerry Bob 885, 7 Victor Xavier Henry 992. A parking lot full of stalkers. 805 Mary Edward, that's a handicap plate. 9 Victor Sam Wendy 896. License Jerry 915 Mary 1. 8 David George David 728. 9 Jerry Zebra Wendy 193. 9 Larry Indiana Yolanda 617. 6 Zebra Uncle 499. 7 Henry Robert Edward 292. 5 Jerry Edward Sam 118. These are stalkers that maintain presence, taking turns, making sure that they maintain presence in the parking lot. So you're talking about walking to their vehicle, getting out of their vehicle, moving their vehicles, either seeking a parking spot or getting out of a parking spot. In other words, what you would see on the surface as appearing as just traffic in a parking spot, they're maintaining the elements of monitoring. They're demons. They're stalking together. 6 Zebra Uncle 499 is a female. This is a homosexual predator who's stalking another woman in the middle of the night, is engaging in lying awake conduct, very deranged and very threatening to the public. She's doing so at 7:04 p.m. License plate 9 Henry Bob Kelly 445. Eight Charlie Uncle 251. 9 George Sam Bob 650. Edward Larry 57 Jerry 62. That's a paper plate. License 6 George Paul 8564, and that is a Maryland license plate. This is a Latino male, Caucasian male, with a dark blue mustache. It's a psychopath, maniacal conduct, stalking with light, stalking in a parking lot, stalking a woman in the middle of the night. This is predatory. This is also deranged conduct that the population shares in. Okay, I just want to be clear. The gym, Pizza Hut, Tasty Donuts, Tortas, Abogadas, Chapada, the smoke shop, the Mission Cleaners, the WSS shoe store, the Giant Value, they're all gang stalking. This is a shopping plaza. Woodside Senior Apartments, which you also know the P.O.C. is underway. I heavily documented that venue, and I documented all of this intersection with regard to relevant positioning from 2024 to 2025. They are indeed gang stalking. 9 DFN 178. They're keeping my vagina under surveillance while I was remaining inside of Woodside Senior Apartments while the entity kept the fake sun over Tracy Banks' apartment. These are sex offenders that are stalking with light. That's the significance of the fake sun being over Tracy's apartment. This is a sex offender, 6 George Paul 8564 Maryland plate. 8 SPY 237. 9 Uncle Wendy Robert 611. 8 Zebra Edward Yolanda 189. 9 Henry David 196. 3 Thomas Indiana Robert 826. 00069 George 3. 9 Victor Edward David 544. 64069 Apple 1. Sexual assault and battery 8 LGE 175. 6B79582. The entity is maintaining aerial surveillance while demons are of the male gender engaged in sexual violence with the government. Demons of the female gender engaged in sexual violence on behalf of the government. 6 Edward Xavier Edward 870 P.O.C. It is currently 7:06 p.m. This is the entity that is stalking me as I'm walking toward the 7-Eleven at 626 North Vine Avenue, where the entity is stalking as a population. That population is in need of martial law. The public, American society is in need of martial law in California for the protection of the public. It's currently 7:07 p.m. Surveillance at 602 North Euclid Avenue. This is the so-called lockout studio. They're going to get locked up if the entity continues this. I'm they're going to be locked up with regard to my ongoing documentation pertaining to continuous surveillance. 8LZP457. Just working in the name of this bootleg studio with their criminal activity. 7NPS183. License plate. These are the sex offenders that just take turns tag teaming, engage in sexual assault and battery while I'm at the bus stop also. 9UBY784. Psychopaths that sit back and listen to what I said on the podcast, and they hop in their car and take a swirl around the corner and take a stab at sexual assault and battery. And it's going to come back and hit them in court. 6NCE533. 9TTH396. License plate. I can't really see that one. It's so pathetic. They try to run around with license plates that you can't see them. Oh goodness, it's not funny. Mental illness is not funny at all, but how pathetic the demons are, and they liken themselves. They remember the secret society. You've heard rumors that they're so elite. They're stealth. All right, they're so skilled, and no one can. These demons are running, and excuse my French, their buttholes are puckering while I document them. They're cowards. 9TIH396 is a weirdo. They're not elite. The sex offender stalking in the middle of the night. Who's going to let their daughter go out with a demon like that? Whose children should be left in the custody of somebody like that? Because that's what's gang stalking in the middle of the night. Stalking with light. All right, he's a vagina monitor. He's engaged in sexual assault and battery with the entity conspiring my murder, and I will note that. P.O.C. He's gang stalking at Bethel Congregation. 70 Edward Jerry Uncle 276. P.O.C. It's currently 7:11 p.m. Coming through the back alley to engage in sexual assault and battery. License plate. 8 Mary Zebra Jerry 975 in an old Toyota Corolla. Driving down with engineer light. That's how you know that it's intentional with regard to criminal monitoring and not just taking a shortcut home. 9 Wendy Charlie Victor 871. And it's also a big hint that the Ontario police are stalking me everywhere with these demons. It's 7:12 p.m. You have stalker after stalker maintaining that same pattern of maintaining engineer light around, maintaining light all around. These are demons that commit murder. These are murderers that are psychotic stalking with this light conduct. It's P.O.C. I have a gang of shadows around me while demons are pacing all around. This society of serial killers are going to be dealt with martial law. P.O.C. It's 7:12 p.m. Alrighty, sexual assault and battery is Chevron at 506 North Euclid Avenue with license 9, Charlie George Frank 822. This is a male wearing a cap. Yeah, this appears to be a Latino male. I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of it. Engaging in sexual assault and battery, and then the federal RICO case with regard to everything that Chevron is doing pursuant to federal group stalking and monitoring. The company is a sex offender, and so are all the gang stalkers as patrons at the venue in the specific environment, engaging in the criminal biddings of the state. License 8 George David Henry 794. Listen to this. This is the psychopath using the car doors audible activity. Gang stalking at gas stall number. Gang stalking at gas stall number 1, sexual assault and battery, P.O.C. These are psychopaths, and they're lined up at Euclid Avenue and E Street, monitoring with that. Demons, P.O.C. All right, this is a demon. This is a demon that's engaged in targeting. This is 602 North Euclid Avenue, the Lockout Studios. Those are black men that are remaining in relevant position, occupying this venue, serially engaged in sexual assault and battery. This is the entity that's engaged in what is stalking me with the Ontario police, who are in the images, stalking me at the Hensley Torta building as I get out of a vehicle that is engaged in what is targeting me and furtherance of murder, like everybody else, in engineer light, where there's impossible light activity coexisting with what is psychopathic pacing and engineer light. All these demons are co-conspiring my murder with the Ontario police, who are being disbanded. While I'm capturing the screenshots, that's the Ontario police sharing in that psychopathic pattern of conduct. This is what Craig Hazelwood's engaging in at 3 o'clock in the morning right at this bus stop, while he's aiming light on me, engaging what is sexual assault. That's a demon that you see on video on December 19, 2025, engaging in the pattern of conduct like all the demon possessed are, like the demon is over here at 602 North Euclid Avenue, with what are not headlights. Those aren't headlights. These are two persons. You see two shadows. There's only one of me. And that's at a tremendous distance. And when they're driving through it, it's creating light activity. That's impossible light. These are demons.
These are demons that are engaging in that. 602 North Euclid Avenue is documented on my podcast, routinely engaged in targeting. This is where the entity was rising the fake sun this morning. That's giving you context regarding the significance of stalking with that which is not even naturally occurring. These are demons engaged in what is monitoring with engineer lighting. You just saw the Ontario Police Department exhibit demon possession. That's the department that's engaged in kidnapping. While they are stalking, referring to the municipal code, that's relevant to malice. While audible activity is coming out of the face of a demon-possessed person wearing a uniform and a badge and a gun on their waist while they're engaging in federal group stalking under Title 18, just like they are in this video. Mike LORENZ is a domestic terrorist leader. He is an enemy of this country, and this is the basis for martial law. While the police department sharing criminal monitoring and furtherance of murder with the people of the state, and they're all demons alike. The entities engaged in this, moreover, while they are monitoring my device, and I'm referencing stalking me by helicopter at the Hensley Torta building right here, and stalking me by helicopter again, which you will see uploaded onto the Google Drive. The demons that are kidnapping of that agency are going to prison, and so are the people of the state. This is P.O.C. That's impossible light activity, and the demon-possessed are no longer secretly trying to exist among us. They're not trying to secretly conspire the murder of an American citizen either, and that's why this population is going to be dealt with via martial law. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:46 p.m. The Ontario Police continuously pose a threat to my life, which has been the case as a matter of documentation since 2018. And because of this, Mike LORENZ, Derek Williams are both subject to federal prison. They are terrorists in the United States, as the pattern of conduct is documenting years of gang violence in the way in which this video is encapsulating. This is gang violence, which is unconstitutional and inhumane, including based on the evidence of what is demon possession. The fact that from an opposite side of the street, where your headlights are not going to create what are multiple shadows and create what is extraordinarily light, a bright light that's going to blind me. That's the engineer light, just like under the fake sun, where the same people, the same population, that same gang stalking agency are keeping me under surveillance and my vagina under surveillance. This is P.O.C. They are going to federal prison. P.O.C.